The following is a Cheeky Leprechaun production.
Pop culture is the entirety of ideas.
Me, Mario.
Let the bass kick.
I am the greatest.
Holy eggshell!
I am your father.
This is the Pop Culture Report with Dan O'Kelly.
How we all doing? Another installment, Pop Culture Report. Here, discussing all things pop culture, the fun that is this podcast. Bit happening. Again, by the way, me solo again. No guest this week. Got a couple of things in the fire. You know, like a couple irons in the fire in terms of some theme-specific episodes on the horizon. So keep an eye out for that because a few of those could be a little bit. Well, one in particular I've got cooking. Looking forward to it. Could be a little bit scandalous, almost. But got to keep sort of a wrap on that at the moment. Got to keep it really discreet. But anyway, we'll get to that down the track. How are you? You good? Having a good week? When am I recording this? Thursday? Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday today. Afternoon recording. Mediocre day here in Melbourne, but that's all right. That's all right. There's been plenty of pop culture news in the last week or so. Saturday, let's dive straight in. Saturday, huge news. Actually, you know what? Let's bury the lead. Let's get to that. Let's get to a few things hot off the press. One in particular today. Anyone out there a fan of Hillary Duff, in particular, Lizzie McGuire? Are you excited about that reboot? I think we've spoken about it on the podcast when we did the Disney Plus chit-chat episode, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm definitely sure we discussed it. So they're reviving Lizzie McGuire. You'd remember it from when you were a kid. This one's going to be Lizzie growing up, you know? Lizzie in New York, I think, is the theme. If you've seen the show Younger, premise, middle-aged woman, divorced, kids in college, sort of comes to the point where she's like, I want to, get back to my career, but struggles to find a way back into her career given the fact that she's considered old and, past it. Because what she wants to do is get into a book publishing firm. Anyway, long story short, she fakes her age because she does look younger-ish. Looks pretty young, but still not buying the fact she's meant to be like 25 or something. Anyway, she goes and she gets a job at this firm. Many things happen. Really good show, actually. Thoroughly enjoy it. But Hillary Duff's in that. Hillary Duff, young, 25 to 30-year-old woman, working in a New York publishing firm, living that cool, trendy lifestyle. It seems like that's what, that's almost... She's playing Hillary Duff, or she's playing Lizzie McGuire, which she'll be playing in the show. Just seems similar. Seems to be crossovers. Anyway, again, don't know heaps of details, but it sounds like neither Disney or Hillary Duff are that set on the details either. It's sort of gone into a bit of turmoil over at Disney because it's come out today. Hillary Duff may not be interested in doing it anymore. She may be on the out. She may be leaving it. Apparently, creative differences, as always. Essentially what's happened is there was a showrunner in place. His idea of what the show should have been, different to Hillary Duff's. Hillary Duff obviously has a fair bit of pull. You need her in order to do the show. And one thing leads to another. He's gone. He's out. Hillary Duff's trying to take over control. The concern from Disney's part is that seemingly the show isn't family friendly enough. So I'm getting this vibe, right? So what happened was Disney were developing a show for Disney Plus based off Love, Simon. You know that movie? A kid in high school is wrestling with the fact that he is gay, yet he doesn't know how to tell his father. It's all. If you've seen the movie, you know it. So they're developing a series on that, and Disney have turned around and gone, you know what? We might put this on Hulu. I feel like it's not family friendly enough. And then Hillary Duff's over here like, she retweeted the news and said, "Sounds familiar." Interesting on Disney's part. I mean, wow, it's 2020, guys. Let's have some diversity. Let's tackle some of these issues that really aren't big problems anymore and shouldn't be from what I would think. It's not even an advertiser standpoint. It's meant to be for Disney Plus, so it's not like, there's people buying ad space on Disney Plus. But just from a brand, that's the concerning part. Disney are looking at this as their brand and going, don't know if, the story of a gay guy in high school is on brand for us. Maybe this is a little bit too risque for our demographic. What? Okay. I mean, I haven't read too far into it, but that's the assumption I got from what I did read. And so Hillary Duff's over here saying this, sounds familiar. Well, okay, you start wondering, what's Hillary Duff wanting to tackle? She understands it's 2020. She understands that this version of Lizzie McGuire needs to be brought into the present. And in the present, the world's a very different place than what it was in, what the late 90s that would have been, or very early 2000s, Lizzie McGuire would have been on air. You can't, I don't know. I think we're playing with fire here a little bit if you're Disney Plus. I don't think you can be that blatantly selective with the content that goes on your show. I mean, why start developing it? Especially Love, Simon. You knew what the premise was of the movie. It's a spin-off of the movie. So that was odd to me anyway. But it sounds like there's a few problems around at the Liz McGuire lot. Hillary's kicking up a fuss. Disney's kicking up a fuss. Other news was Bob Iger, the Disney CEO. He's stepped down, effective immediately. Put another Bob in place. Can't remember his name, but I thought it was... No, there's something weird about that, isn't there? Not weird, but it's... Like when you're sitting down, you go, all right, who are we going to put in next? All right, Bob Iger, he's leaving. Who are we going to put in? Somebody goes, oh, what about, Bob, who runs the Disneyland park? What do we think of him? Surely one person in that room thought, it's a bit weird that we're going to put, replace Bob with another Bob. It's a bit funny, isn't it? Like, there's not another name that is suitable for this role. I don't know. I always get caught up on that sort of thing. So Bob's replacing Bob. And, this new guy he come from being the president, I believe he was, of Disneyland Parks and Recreational Entertainment or something like that. And it's strange because Bob Iger, about a year and a half ago, was meant to be stepping down from his role of CEO. And instead, there was this whole thing. It was a little bit unclear, but he'd spoken about F.R.I.E.N.D.S. He's like, no, I'm done. When my contract's up, I'm done. We're getting a new CEO. And then suddenly he was like, I'm going to stay another 2 years and just sort of see the rollout of Disney Plus, all these other things, just to keep things stable. And, the argument's being made by Bob Iger himself. He's like, I've overseen the rollout of Disney Plus. He's like, we've wrapped Avengers, all these big things that have sort of concluded. The purchase of Fox was another one, he said. He oversaw that, and he feels the integration of that is now at a point where he can step aside. But, I don't know, it always feels weird. It's like he's still got 22 months or so on his contract remaining, and he's now moving into a different role, which is, I read somewhere, it was like chairman of Disney, I think, but he's going to be overseeing creative. Weird. It's weird. But anyway, stranger things have happened. That's heading into the weeds a little bit though in terms of entertainment stuff. It's a bit boring. Don't know why I wanted to talk about that. Felt the need. Pushing on to the other little bit of news, sort of coming out of the camp of Disney, actually, at Lucasfilms. You've probably seen Indiana Jones. Okay, if you don't like Indiana Jones, you clearly, you maybe haven't taken the time recently to go back and watch them. Indiana Jones are fantastic. They hold up. They're corny, but that's all right. Some of the best things are corny. Especially, Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you're going to go watch any of them, I'd argue 3 was pretty good with Sean Connery. I can't remember what that one was called. The Last Crusade Just came to me. I think that's just good memory, that. Yeah. I would go check out Indiana Jones. If you're not familiar, go check it out. If you haven't seen it in a while and you're like, okay, should I be interested in the fact that Indiana Jones 5 is happening? Go check it out. It's pretty interesting. I've got an issue, though. Okay? New issue. I was wrestling for so long with this. So somebody at some point made a really good point and said, hey, Chris Pratt would be a good Indiana Jones. Oh, Christ, now we can't unsee it. Yes, he would make a really good Indiana Jones. So, it's problematic now that Harrison Ford is returning for Indiana Jones 5. I get it. Okay, Harrison Ford is Indy. Yes, you're right. Harrison Ford is also, 75 or something? He's old as sin. He's old as anything. Have we not got to a point now where we've learnt that it's better off sometimes to put someone new in? Keep the legend alive. Look how Bond's done it. Bond's done it so well. It's like a little reboot every time. Batman done it well. So many roles have been reinvented. I mean, the reboot, yes, it's risky. It's risky. And if you were to put Chris Pratt in, I mean, Harrison Ford did it to a point where he was older. I mean, what was it? The Crystal Skull, I think it was, with, who's the guy that's nuts now? I mean, they say he's all right these days, but I'm pretty sure he's still nuts. We'll come back to that. But in that one, in Indiana Jones 4, he was older compared to what he was in the first 3. So the fact of that kind of says to me, well, you couldn't just slot Chris Pratt in there and go, they're similar ages, they might not notice. No, last time we saw Indiana Jones, he was an older man. So when you're putting in Chris Pratt, there would have to be some form of explanation, I would probably think. Temple of Doom, what's that one? Oh, that's the second one. Just sort of looking over. Here we go. Crystal Skull. Yeah, what's his name? Here we go. Cast starring Shia LaBeouf or Shia LaBeouf. I don't know what people say. I've always said Shia LaBeouf, but I had this panic suddenly then that when you're about to say it wrong. I don't think I do, though. Shia LaBeouf. That was a shocking movie. That's why for so long it took him ages to get it off the ground. But number 5, that is. So yeah, you couldn't exactly just slot Chris Pratt in. And I understood that. I was like, there has to be some form of explanation as to how we're going to get to a new Indiana Jones, as in the actor portraying him. So I was like, okay, all right, whatever. Live and learn. Spielberg's coming back. Harrison Ford's coming back. Maybe it's the last hurrah. Surely the last hurrah. I mean, if the Crystal Skull couldn't kill it, this one probably will. And Spielberg makes great movies. Spielberg directed the Crystal Skull. And he's gone on to direct like Oscar-winning films since then. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I think it sort of just speaks to, it becomes a little bit unrealistic. I mean, Indiana Jones is somebody that's somewhat gun-wielding. He's cracking the whip. It's an action drama movie. It's an adventure movie. There's something about a 75-year-old man that makes you go, well, is struggling to relate to this a little bit. So that was where I sat. News breaks today. What's happened? Spielberg's left. He's not involved. Well, okay, well, this will be the first one he hasn't directed. Well, hang on, wouldn't this have been a good chance just to reboot the whole friggin' thing? Wait, who's the new director? James Mangold. The guy that did Logan. I mean, a really good director has been put in place of Spielberg. That's fantastic. My issue is, this feels like, now that it's not Spielberg and Harrison Ford returning to what they created all those years ago, it's bloody James Mangold and Harrison Ford. Wasn't this a good chance to maybe put Chris Pratt in? You know? It felt like it anyway. So now I feel like there was a missed opportunity here. Maybe Harrison Ford drops out. I don't know. But I did also read that the script's been rewritten and it's going to be taking into account an older Indiana Jones. I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope it's really good. But this is also the guy that hoped Rambo Last Blood was going to be really good. You know, Sylvester Stallone back, one last hurrah, and heard so much negative feedback, he lost interest and still hasn't seen it. I do need to watch it. But yes, while I'm a traditionalist and I like my things the way they have been historically, I am also very open to new things that might allow for, more things to come. Yeah, more things to jump off from it. So that's what happened. That's what's happening with Indiana Jones. I kind of want to go watch Indiana Jones right now after talking about it. It's a great movie. It's really good. I don't care what anyone says, especially the first 3. 4, just don't watch it. It's that simple. Just don't watch it. Skip straight to 5. If that's no good, well, just think. Could have been Chris Pratt. Might have been better. Anyway. Here's what I wanted to talk about today. Your friends. My friends. Joey, Chandler, Monica, Rachel, Ross, Phoebe. Did I just get them all? Yeah. Rachel? Did I say Rachel? Hang on. Joey, Chandler, Ross, Monica, Rachel, Phoebe. There we go. Got them. You just got to go boys, girls, or girls, boys. And wait, you're getting everyone. Well, they're coming back. It was announced last Saturday. There's a reunion. It's happening. There's been plenty of talk about it for ages. And it all comes because of this new streaming service. Another one that we're all going to have to pay for, kids. Because, you got to have them all. I've still got my Amazon account. Loving it, sick. But I'll have HBO Max. Because that's the new Warner Brothers streaming service they're bringing out. And think about HBO. What's it got? Everything. All those TV. What are your favorite TV shows? They're made by HBO. Sopranos, The Night Of, Westworld, Watchmen, True Detective. God, I could sit here for hours. Curb Your Enthusiasm. I won't because that will be boring. You get the idea. They've got heaps and heaps of good content, which means that content is coming off of the other streaming services. Right, so what does this mean? Friends reunion. Why is Friends on it? Because Warner Brothers own HBO, therefore this streaming service is going to have all of HBO stuff, all of Warner Brothers stuff. That includes movies, TV shows, the lot. So Friends is on there, which is great. Who doesn't love Friends? I love Friends. There's been all this talk about it for so long that they're going to do a reunion. Okay, sure. What will that mean? Okay, well, here's the confusion already. People are very much misinformed about this reunion. At least, the way it's been explained. People are missing a crucial bit of information about this Friends reunion. What have you heard? Right? The Friends cast are back together. Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, here we go, Courtney Cox. Oh, goodness, David Schwimmer. Oh, God, what's Phoebe's name? I'll look it up. But anyway, yes, they're all coming back. There's been heaps of talk about the Friends cast in particular being back together. They put up those Instagrams. Suddenly, each cast member that didn't have Instagram was getting Instagram. And it sort of felt like, well, we know where this is heading. This is heading to a reunion. And we're getting it. And, oh, there we go. Lisa Kudrow, thank you. Knew that. Just forgot it momentarily. We're getting our reunion. But we're not getting a revival. There's a big difference. So people are like, I can't wait to have more Friends. I hope it's not just a 1-episode deal. I hope it's multiple. You're not getting any episodes. No. In the fine print of that media release, what does it say? If you really dissect it and pull it apart, what does it say? An unscripted event. Oh, I guess all those actors are really funny. Like they probably don't they just make it all up on the spot? Nah, it's scripted. There's people writing all that. Oh, but I saw that the original showrunner and creator are coming back for it. Yeah, because what are we getting? We're getting a question answer. We're getting it'll be on the soundstage where they film Friends. They'll be sitting around. Joey, not there. Matt LeBlanc's there. Talking about Joey, different. Matthew Perry's doing the same thing. Courtney Cox, all of them. Jennifer Aniston, you really thought Jennifer Aniston, the movie star, megastar that she is now, was going to go back and play Rachel Green again? No. I mean, first of all, you'd look at her, it would be like when Brad Pitt guest starred on Friends. Do you remember that episode, the Thanksgiving episode? And Brad Pitt was once, I think it was Ross's college friend. And he was really overweight in college. And now, they catch up with him all these years later. It's Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt walks in looking like a goddamn Ken doll. And, that's the whole joke. But the whole time, you're not sitting there. I couldn't even tell you what the character's name was that he played. Because it was Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt on screen. That's Jennifer Aniston now. Jennifer Aniston is Jennifer Aniston. And arguably you could say she was in those final seasons of Friends. She was a movie star at that point. She'd transcended the TV show. So I just didn't see a world where somebody like that would be like, if they could do it, fantastic. But this would even be on a lesser degree, I think. Oh, maybe not. Steve Carell going back and playing Michael Scott again on The Office. It's probably unlikely. They want to distance themselves from these roles, even though that's what brought them to the party. That's what made them famous. They don't want to be known as that anymore. They've outgrown it. So, hate to break your heart, kids, but you're not getting a revival of Friends. I wish we were. Or do I? Here's my next point. Is it really what you'd want? Do we need any of this from Friends? Think about how season 10, episode 24, I think that's what they went to. How did it end? The whole series, how did they wrap that up? They left the apartment. The famous apartment that was originally Monica. It was originally Monica's, and then Rachel moved in, and then throughout time, majority of that cast lived in that apartment at some point. Ross lived there during his college years, so he had lived there. I believe Joey and Chandler moved in at one point. Phoebe lived there at one point. Every cast member lived there at some point throughout the show. So it didn't matter what season you're in. It was... I actually get goosebumps thinking about this. It is a really good show. It's a really feel-good show, isn't it? But that was the setting. You think Friends, you think of two things. Monica's apartment and the coffee shop. Where were Monica and Chandler going? Well, they got kids now. That's what they had at the end of season 10. They had kids. So their kids, what are we, 15 years on? I'll tell you. When did it run to? Thought that was going to be easy to find. 2004. Jesus, 16 years on. Their kids are 16. Little brats. Probably don't give a shit about Monica and Chandler. Just use them. Hope for a home-cooked meal every night. In and out. I mean, maybe it is a good time. Maybe the kids won't be around. My point is, what's the setting of Friends? Where do we want to see these people? In the apartments or at the coffee shop? I don't really want to go to Monica and Chandler's house. Even if Joey is living above the garage like Chandler said that he would. You remember that? It's a deep cut. You're not going to get the Friends that you wanted. It's a different show. It's totally different. It'd be like Seinfeld coming back. Not in Jerry's apartment. Not in Kramer's apartment. Jerry and Kramer not living across the hall from each other. I mean, maybe they are all these years later. There's more reality in placing them back in those original settings from the show than there are in the Friends cast, because when we left them in 2004, they were leaving those settings. That was it. That was why they wrapped. These people are moving on to different things in their lives. The time of them as being friends in their 20s to early 30s, living together in New York, their lives revolving around each other, were over because their lives were changing. So, I mean, shit. There was a spin-off called Joey where Joey moved to LA. He's not even in the apartment across the hall anymore. It's a different show. I don't think I wanted it. I don't think. And even if they put him back in that setting, I'd be like, well, what the fuck happened? And, you just know they wouldn't answer those questions. So, yeah. I mean, you're not getting the friends you wanted. You're not getting a revival. You're getting a true reunion. Getting the cast back together. Talking about the old days. Laughing about the old days. Feels like something you'll just watch on YouTube in 10 years' time. You know, all those behind-the-scenes things. You see them in like 10-minute chunks on YouTube and you're like, part 1, part 2. And you just sort of jump between the YouTube clips. That's what it sort of feels like. It doesn't feel like there's any real, God, I've got to catch this reunion special where all the cast get together. I don't have much of an interest in watching them all together. I don't. Just going to see him looking old and shit. Pretty sure Matthew Perry's grey. Not Matthew Perry. Matt LeBlanc. Joey. So, yeah. I don't know. If I've ruined your day by this, I am truly, truly sorry. It doesn't change the fact that you're probably going to purchase HBO Max once it's available in Australia. Because you're not going to be able to watch Friends anywhere else. So you'll still get your Friends. You still get that fix. Don't worry about that. Because they'll be there for you. That hurt. That was shit. That was shocking. Apple juice is the drink of choice today. I don't know why. I just felt like I needed a little sugar hit before this episode. Honestly, came into this episode and I was a little bit flat, a little bit lethargic. I feel like I might be a little bit unwell at the moment, a little nasally or something. But I pushed through, and look, shorter episode today naturally because it is me. I know I spoke for about an hour the other week, but shit, there was Batman stuff in it, so could have me here all day. Been in a bit of a binge of watching a lot of toy stuff on YouTube. So a lot of collectibles. I'm right into that. Naturally, it's a freaking pop culture podcast. Of course, can't quite get around to the what do they call them? The Funko Pops. Don't know where I sit on those. Just feels like then if I want something representing someone or something I like, I want it to look realistic and like the actual thing that I like. I feel like Funko Pops, they just don't look a thing like it. It's been a tough week in my house because that's the sort of wrestling with things I've been doing. Wrestling with the fact we're not getting a Friends revival. We're getting a reunion. Hillary Duff might be leaving. The Lizzie McGuire reboot. Love Simon, apparently, just totally neglected us for what it is and instead finding out way too late and then giving it the arse to Hulu. Interesting. And Indy, Indiana Jones. Could we have had Chris Pratt? Especially in a world where we're getting a new director. Tough week. As I said, though, got some things on the horizon. There are some special topical episodes coming up, like we've done recently, where we'll hone in on one or two things and really hammer them home, really dissect, discuss, debate. I like the ones where you debate. I like that. I just think it makes for good audio. So that's what's coming up. Keep an eye out, of course, as always, weekly episodes of the Pop Culture Report. And if there isn't one week, well, you usually get an explanation. But the aim is one a week, guys. So always come back each week, hang out for a little bit and chat all things pop culture. Anyway, you have a good week. Talk to you later.
This has been a Cheeky Leprechaun production.